linked to the war. We're listening now to the step which was considered to turn into a patriotic song. Well, this interchange between military and civil sphere is perfectly visible in the influence of military bands in Spanish civil bands, especially from the early 20th century, when the number of civil bands started to expand all over the country. Just as military bands were representative of the state and contributed to the social control to the public martial display, the civil bands were used as a symbol of the local government which supported them, as well as a medium to convey order and contribute to the social control. This influence is perfectly visible in the military uniforms, which were adopted by civil bands all over the country. The internal regulations for bands often note how the uniform should be worn as neatly as possible, with band members taking painstaking care of it. The appearance of band performers was also used to convey ideas about proper behavior to the citizenship. As you can see in the screen, band regulations usually included clear instructions on how musicians' behaviors must show a model of subordination and discipline. Conversely to what we might think, military bands contributed to popularize opera and zarzuela steps to all social classes to the open-air concerts they performed, after being authorized to play outside of martial spirit. The repertoire was constituted by musical trends of that time. We can see an example of a concert program performed in a public park in 1916. The repertoire shows the musical trends of that time, opera, especially Wagner ones, and obviously zarzuela. From the early 19th century onwards, military bands had a strong presence in open-air urban spaces as performance venues, such as gardens, streets, or even ballrooms. Their presence in those open-air urban spaces allowed them to express the military values to the Spanish society, while they contributed to shape the new musical practice. Military bands had a significant role in identity-building processes, mainly through the resignification of famous lyrical texts, such as the Paso Doble en Marcha de Cal, which sounded in public spaces for almost a decade until its prohibition. Military bands influenced the civil bands' development, which also were used to transfer ideas about proper behavior to the citizenship. Like military bands, civil bands were used not only as a symbol of culture and identity, but also as representatives of the institution which supported them. Consequently, military bands established close-knit relationships with civil life, contributing to shape urban culture and identity in Spain. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, especially for the two music examples, so the vivid, and I saw some people moving with dance, like, so you caught the spirits here, yeah. So, the floor is open for questions or comments.
Thank you for your presentations. My question actually goes to all speakers of that session. As far as I'm aware of opera production system of 19th century in Italy, it was common practice to engage single military band musicians to complete orchestras on especially smaller theaters who didn't have an institutionalized orchestra. Did anybody of you came across such engagements of military bands in your studies?
military bands on lyric theater you are asking for?
Yes, theater orchestras, opera orchestras, topped
In,
up by military musicians.
yeah, in the case of Spain, when the military band was necessary to perform the opera, for example, in Royal Theatre, they asked for the military band close to the city, and they asked for permission because they didn't play at the theater, and normally the members of this military band. Not all the members of this military band play inside the theater. Normally, they use a group of members, and that change in relation with the kind of opera they have to perform.
So maybe it was the same in the other geographical regions.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
Any other question? Yes. Mr. Bretanitz.
Yeah, thank you. Also a question to all speakers, and as I'm working at a musical instrument museum, as you know, my question is, do you have any idea or documents where the instruments come from?
Where the
In
instruments?
Romania, Spain, where the instruments came from? Who delivered the instruments? Which companies? From your pictures from Spain, it looks very French. At the end, I don't know. Czech might be quite clear because Prague has its own tradition. Romania, I don't know from the pictures, could be Prussian influence, but maybe also Austrian. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. In the case of Spain, the organology field is needs more studies, but I know we have obviously the process of the instruments come from French, more of them, but we are studying now the process, for example, of tuba and all and other brass instruments, and we are discover they proceed from Czech. I don't know if I correct word. Prague and all these important European cities. But it's a work in progress, so I can't have anymore. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm just asking mainly because with these different traditions of musical instrument building, it also results in a different in a special sound, so to say. And you also import sounds in this way.
It's possible, but we are knowing now one of the main points for buying the instruments is the contact between the publishers and the capacity and ability of these publishers who buy the instruments to be in touch with other publishers and other musicians outside Spain. So we will see. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
More of a comment than a question. I witnessed a lot of parallels with Greece during the same period. Military bands in Greece also are considered, through my research, as markers or, let's say, of societal changes. They occupied public spaces mostly during pivotal events. And this was not only on national terms, like treaties signed or diplomatic victories or national victories, but also during political crisis, when another, from the other political camp emerged a different government. Immediately the bands were in central spots in Athens, signifying this change. And it was repeatedly performed. and not only the national anthem, of course, but the personal anthem of each political leader. So thank you for your presentation. It drew a lot of parallels to my research.
Thank you so much. I like to hear that. And if I can
Yes,
add
indeed.
something more, in Spain, in addition with the military bands, we have a strong phenomenon on civil bands. So at the end of the century, this kind of roles linked to the politics and all these things started to be played by civil bands. Because around 19, the early 20th century, we have explosion of municipal civil bands, which was supported by the councils. So this they use them like instrument of propaganda and all these things. And in this case, the military bands started to be outside the street public and only in special occasions. But I completely agree with you, and I looking for your research to share more more knowledge.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm afraid that our time has run out. So I would like to thank Gloria and all three participants. Yes, to obey the discipline, because in about 15 minutes, we shall have a founding session of the new IMS study group. So I'm asking those who are interested in staying, let's stay